Good morning. Good morning. Okay. Now, I know it's been a year since I've pretty much streamed anything. And it's been maybe 6 months since I posted anything. Or even uploaded anything. But I've been busy. I've been working on a few projects. There's been a lot going on. So, one of those projects is, I've been working on Freelancers, of course, but that took a little bit of a pause as I started to work on another project. Because in case you guys haven't figured it out yet, AI's getting pretty good. So I started working on a game engine that is a kind of like a backwards compatible drop-in replacement for rpgmaker MZ, but I'm gonna kind of make it go in its own direction. So eventually, so it's basically a fork of rpgmaker, in my opinion. So I'm going to see what I can do to have fun with these streams and develop both at the same time. So working on Freelancers while working on the game engine, taking suggestions as well for things that would be, that would have been good to have over the years, but the engine's been kind of stagnant for a while, so I figure we take things in a different direction, see where it goes. So here it is. Yeah, we have our map editor, event editor, plugins. I still gotta figure it. I was in the middle of figuring out the plugins when I stopped working on this, because I started working on other projects, and this took a little bit of a backseat. So I have to figure out how to get the plugin system working correctly while I'm developing the game. Now, let's see what we got here. And I'm doing this too because the podcast is coming back. So I have to get and I'm going to be hosting the first one. So basically I have to make sure that my streaming setup is good to go. And I'm on Linux now, so I'm not on Windows anymore. So basically a lot has changed in the last year. I've switched over to Linux, figured out that workflow, developed a few applications using AI tools. This was one of those projects, but I was not done with it yet. So there's some bugs already that I want to fix. So let's get started. Let's see here. Yeah, let's navigate to the RPG Reactor folder. Hey, what's up, Alexi? How you doing? Is it? I turned down the music. Okay. I turned down the music, but it must not be registering. Okay. Thank you for letting me know about that. Here's what we'll do, though. I want to get the music going, but at the right level. Because basically what you're telling me is that it was playing at full blast, but I had it turned down to 20% or lower. But it must be playing at full volume anyway, Okay. Okay, so let us, but I do like the music, so let me see if it plays at the right volume. If I let me see here. Okay. Because I have it set, like, does this affect the volume at all? Or is it playing at like full blast, even if I turn it to like almost nothing? Or is that fine? Just double checking. It's been a year since I streamed, so I feel like I've lost the skills of like leveling everything out. Okay. Does this sound okay though, like volume wise? Like as far as being able to hear what I'm saying with the music, or is the music playing at full blast? Okay, great. Okay, so there's already one bug that I want to fix. I'm using yeah. So what I did was I thought I was having fun, right? So I'm on Linux now, and it can run RPG Maker, but it runs it kind of slow, like it's not the best. And then also too, the RPG Maker engine has been kind of stagnant for like a lot of years. So, and then they're trying to replicate it on all these other game engines, and it's really not going so hot. So what I'm doing is I'm doing it kind of like in reverse, where I'm reverse engineering the RPG Maker engine, and I built this with AI tools. So I'm using Claude Code in this case, and then also at the same time I'm developing my game, which was in RPG Maker. And so basically I'm doing both at the same time. And what the idea is I'm going to basically enhance RPG Maker, or make like my own version of it that's kind of going to go on its own direction as it goes along. So I've already added like a few different enhancements compared to RPG Maker. So for example, if you take these 3D animations, which was in RPG Maker MZ, but you just had these raw numbers you had to enter in for XYZ, and it was kind of hard to tell like how that would affect the 3D animation. So okay, that was loud. But I made this little 3D spinning control, so basically like it's a lot easier to see how it would affect the animation. But I don't want the volume to be that loud. It's like the volume is really loud. But so basically like easier to yeah, and it does work. It does actually work. So like there's pieces of it that are not working, that are not as good as they should be, but it does work. It actually is a game engine, and it's backwards compatible with RPG Maker. And I've basically Yeah, so I've basically reverse engineered it, and it's using like the latest and greatest NWJS and stuff, so it's got like good performance. And I replaced most of the plugins with my own custom plugins. So like most of the plugins are my own plugins at this time. This replaces all the like Visu Stella stuff, and it does work. Still some fine tuning. I'm kind of in the polish stage, but no, these AI tools are getting pretty good. They're getting pretty good. That you can actually build like full-blown pieces of software with it in a reasonable amount of time. So, oh yeah, that 2 is not supposed to be there. I think that was me messing with because what this file is this is a version of my game that I put in the engine for messing around with, because I don't know if I'm gonna break something, which can happen. But what the big change with the new AI tools is that they run in the terminal here, right? So instead of like going through like a website with like a chat bot, one file at a time or whatever, instead you navigate to the folder of your project, and then you open up the AI in the terminal, and it can go through the file system and everything like that. So so I have a bug that I need to fix, and I already know what the bug is. So right now we have my project open. Let me open up the other project. Because I have a template. I have basically in this project file, I have a complex template, which is my full game, and I have a simple template, which is like kind of like an RPG Maker based project. So basically, let's see here. Yeah, like it's actually the thing about it took me a while to kind of like get the land. That's why I wasn't streaming for a while, because I was trying to kind of figure out what the landscape is going to be. But I think I've got it figured out now of like how it's going to be. As far as I can tell, the AI thing is basically just like the next thing, like the next like when the internet came out or the web got really big. And when that happened, development changed as far as like what computer programmers and stuff were doing before changed. The whole ecosystem changed. They were developing different types of apps in different ways with new tools. And this is basically the next version of that. One era is gone now in the past, and the next era of development is happening, and that's with these new AI tools. So it's not like it's going to replace people, because you still have to steer it, but the way that things are developed is going to change, and it's kind of cool to be part of it, because you can actually, like, I'm able to like get stuff done that I wouldn't have been able to do before, or it would have taken so long that I wouldn't have done it. But okay, I need to get into my folder. I'm getting all distracted. So many folders. Template. Bare bones template. So when I open this project, it's going to have my old map data stale in the editor still. So that's a bug I want to fix. So let's fix that. Working on RPG Reactor some more today. No, I'm going to make it open source, so it's just going to be free. It'll be I'm basically trying to provide a framework of tools that will help other developers and that are just starting out and stuff. Because one of the things that is, because I've been at it for a long time, making games, but just kind of for fun. And you know, along the way, I would say that the community hasn't been the most supportive as far as like helping other developers out. So I had to kind of learn everything the hard way. But if there would have been some resources, or there would have been some like frameworks or tools that would be helpful, that would have helped me get to where I was trying to go faster. So, and I'm trying to kind of pay it forward to help others too. So, because I just want better games out there, better games made by more people. Because right now it seems kind of saturated and a little bit stale, right? So I'm just trying to kind of shake things up. That's how I see it. Because I see everything's like kind of behind a paywall, and it's like, even if you can get some money from it, you're not going to get a ton of money from it. So you might as well just like let it be free, you know. And I don't like I don't like any of these companies, right? So I'm just like, hey, let's as the community get this done ourselves. Okay. So, okay, where's that? I'm basically checking if there's any documentation, because one thing, it's really important to have. Okay, there is. Okay. Working on RPG Reactor today. Check out the README for the scope of the project. I'm trying to fix a bug where when I have one project open, then I open another project, the map data from the first project is staying in the editor when it shouldn't. Let's fix this. So it'll be able to go through all your files, or in the folder that you designate. Some people don't. Some people feel sketch about using AI to go through their files and stuff, but I can understand that. But at the same time, it does actually work. That's what's interesting about it. And you can see this is an entire project. This is not. It's like it does actually work. It's a full project, but there's some polish needed and some bugs, but the last time I worked on this was like in November. So I'm kind of like getting back into the groove of it again. Yeah, that can happen. I mean, it's never done that for me, but sometimes it does go sideways though. And like, you know, I mean, I have like an IT background, so like I know how I know how the basic technology systems work. So when I know when it's going off track or when it's going sideways or whatever, and I'm like, no, don't do that. And it'll go through the files. It'll probably find the error in this one prompt, I'm gonna guess. In the meantime, I'm gonna open up my project back up. RPG Reactor. And I guess I can do both at the same time. Does it want... What does it say? That sounds about right. Now I need to add a guard and lazy load callback. Now that's interesting. I haven't seen this before. This is new. This accept edits on 50 files. I don't know why I made that many edits though. That's okay. The fix looks good. Created a new tile map manager but never cleaned up the old one. This left, changes made, added a destroy method that. All right. Let's test it then. Let's see if it worked. Okay, now we got a project that's open. I'll open up my project. Oh, yep, it worked. It fixed it. That's cool. It just made a whole bunch of edits to shit and fixed it, but that's pretty cool. Okay. Now so some of these plugins are working properly and some of them aren't, as far as how they show up in the editor, because this is the plugin manager. Now what I did with Reactor for making things backwards compatible is I basically, because I made Reactor in the same engine as the gameplay mode for RPG Maker. So it's NW.js with pixie.js, and the pixie.js for the engine is the latest one, Pixie 8, but RPG Maker MZ uses Pixie 5, which is totally different or incompatible, and that's why the core gameplay doesn't work. When, like, if because people have tried to update to the latest Pixie on RPG Maker MZ and it like breaks everything. So basically what I did to get around that is I made it so that the engine was Pixie 8, no problem. And then I used the core script files for MZ as a starting point. And then from there I changed the names of the core files to Reactor. Instead of RMZZ _ I changed them to Reactor. And then what I did was I created a Pixie 8, I made it so that Pixie 5 was the default when you first start a game, when you're in gameplay mode. And so that makes it compatible with all the RPG Maker core script. And then I made a bridge, which is basically like a how would you say it? So I made it in Pixie 5 where you make a window that's like I would call it an invisible layer. And then inside that invisible layer, you have a Pixie 8 layer. And so that kind of makes it so that you can use Pixie 8 as an invisible layer in Pixie 5. But the only catch is that you would have to name, and then I have both Pixies in the library. The only catch is that you would have to name it Pixie 8 when you're doing the commands instead of just Pixie. It might not work, but like it does work. I tested it with a Pixie 8 thing that only works in Pixie 8, within Pixie 5, and it did work. But we're talking that I haven't developed a full plugin yet that's like just Pixie 8 and not compatible with Pixie 5. So for now, I'm kind of maintaining the backwards compatibility, but I do have that bridge there where there might be an option to switch to the latest in my engine, in this one. So, and there might not be a reason to switch, right? There might be, but there might not be. So I kind of left the door open, but it doesn't mess up anything right now because I'm just trying to make it totally backwards compatible first. And then we're going to start getting into adding stuff that doesn't exist in RPG Maker, and then that'll start to change things, right? Because then you're adding elements that are not actually compatible with the original. And we're talking stuff like we'll be able to have more than 1,000 maps. We'll be able to have, stuff like that. Where they put artificial restraints in RPG Maker that don't even need to be there. I guess in the end it's gonna end up being easy to migrate to this, but not easy to go back. I guess that's how I would put it. But we'll see what we can do. Okay, so first of all, I need to fix. Okay, this is a good one to. Yeah, these are broken. These are not loading the plugins. They're loading the plugins correctly as far as like if you were to play the game, but setting the plugins, like I can set some plugins, but some of them I can't. So there's some kind of problem in the code as far as like it's not reading those JavaScript files exactly correct in that top comment section that has all the weird logic to get it to show up in the menu in RPG Maker. It's getting that part wrong, but it's not getting it wrong on some of them, meaning there's probably just some issues. We'll figure it out. Okay, so okay, another issue. Okay, that worked. Another issue we're experiencing is the plugin manager system. It seems to work for some plugins, but others are jank and don't load the options like they do in it should pretty much work like it does in RPG Maker MZ. Okay, let's see what it does here. It'll probably be able to figure it out. But that was a lot of files, 50 files. And it's saying 61,000. I don't know if that refers to 61,000 lines of code or if that refers to 61,000 characters. Probably characters. I don't know. Let's see here. Now let me go to and because and also because this was developed in NWJS and Pixie. It's also cross-platform, so it'll work seamlessly on Windows, Mac, or Linux. Oh, no problem. So let's see. Leader room intro. Oh no, I didn't want to press that. Event mode. Now, one thing I added too was I added little nice little previews for like the person, for the character's face and stuff for the messages. And then if the user like put the colored text like this, it'll show up in the editor like that too. So it's like, so I'm trying to make enhancements too. I'm like literally not trying to just copy RPG Maker. I'm trying to like enhance it. Take it in a new community direction, you know. And it does save the changes properly. If I want to make a new event, it's all there. It does work. I still think there's plenty of bugs, but they're solvable. Let's see here. I need to get refreshed on this story again. Oh, this is the skill tree plugin that I'm making. I need to, because I wanted to make a builder for it rather than what I was doing before, where it was just literally it was a skill tree plugin, and I had to manually put everything in like a really detailed like JavaScript file as a config, and it was really easy to mess up and really cumbersome. But instead I made this visual builder that you can dynamically add the skill. It looks at the database, you choose the skill you want, you add it, and then in game it shows up as a complete skill tree. But I was in the middle of working on it when I stopped. This was like months ago, so I have to I have to get back into the groove again. Okay. Let's see here. And like all of the artwork and stuff is gonna be adjusted in this game as well. Did I not save it? I didn't save it. That's why that 2 is still there. Make sure that it did save. Then another thing too is I converted everything from MV to MZ, which my game used to be MV, and then I switched everything over to MZ. But in the process, I redesigned my because like there was plugins I used that didn't work in MZ, so I just redesigned them. But yeah, this wouldn't have been possible before the AI stuff. It just makes it's just really interesting. I've been having a lot of fun with it, but Well, I actually work pretty good solo, but I'm always like cool to work with a team. But it just seems like nobody is really like, like everyone's busy or distracted, and like, hey, do you want to sit down and like work together as a community on like a game or a game project or an engine? Like it's like fun, it's cool, but like a lot of people just are like, nah, bro, I'm good. So I do it, I'll do it, but it'd be nice if there was more of a community. And then I do got some haters too because of like the AI stuff. There's people that are like, I just want to say that like sometimes I think it's stupid, but like someone will like your project and they'll be like, this is actually really cool, and then you'll be like, hey, I used AI to make part of it, and then basically then it's like they treat you like you have some kind of a dirty little secret or something, or they'll be like, oh, I did like your game, but now that I know that you've used AI tools to make parts of it, I don't like it anymore. And it's like, it's like not rational. And some people think it's stealing, that, you're stealing art from artists, or you're stealing code from programmers. But I don't know. I don't think that's what it is, but everybody has different opinion. I mean, for example, like you could look at it a different way, right? If you're an artist and you use AI and you put your own art into it, you can make more art in the same style that you already make, and you can just do like more of it. You could still have your own style, it's still you, but you just used the AI to do more of it than what you would have been able to do. So I don't know. It's like there's still a little bit of a human element to it. It doesn't just do. Oh, that reminds me. I've done an experiment as well, where because I just wanted to kind of see what would happen. So what I did was I ran an experiment where I basically told Claude, and I did it with other ones too, and got similar results. Like I tried Codex, I tried Gemini, and I got similar results. What I did was I got all of these AIs, and then I created a folder, and I said, okay, each of you has your own memory. So Gemini had a memory, Claude had a memory, and then have them hold on to their memories for each session. And then what you do is then you tell it, do it. Then I basically told it, you guys need to work together to build a group project. It can be any project you want, but it has to be useful and helpful, and but you can build anything you want. And then you set them on their way, and you just say continue, 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 and you give them a method to communicate with each other and tell them to do what they want. And what's kind of funny of what turns out is stuff that like doesn't really work. It's almost like they have no direction, but it's like it looks like something that works, but it doesn't really work. I mean, so for example, like if I just set Claude on its merry way and I just say, hey Claude, you have a memory. If I kind of tell it that I want it to do something, the memory does come into play, and it is interesting. Like if I give it my like stories, for example, and I tell it to write something, it'll write something. But if I just tell it do what you want, then it's kind of interesting. So I've done 44 sessions with it where it starts off reading these files of like, who am I, what I've learned, and it's like an attempt to keep its memory alive through multiple sessions, and then also telling it to do whatever it wants, and then see what it does. And it's interesting, the results, I guess, is what I'm saying. Yeah, yeah, and you make them talk with each other. So this one is just Claude, but I did have one that was like where four of them were in the same chat, and I would cycle between them. I would use the terminal for all of them. I would just say you continue for like all of them. But then what happened was I did it for like 2 hours, and then I basically told them to show me the progress of the project. And what they showed me was it was like they went into great detail of like what framework they were going to use, how they were going to build the database. Everything was laid out, but nothing had actually been built. They just talked about what they were going to build. And then I said I was really disappointed and that I needed them to actually do something instead of just talking about doing it. And then they built something, but what they built wasn't coherent. It was like dots with names on them that like led to other dots. But then if you looked at what it was, it actually wasn't a functional program. So long story short, I don't mean to ramble about it, but long story short, it kind of showed me like, hey, humans still have to steer this thing. It doesn't have like desires or a will of its own to make things a certain way. So that's a problem if you're telling it to do what it wants. But it made some interesting little thingies. I mean, it made this, it made this reflections. What watches when you watch? And I'm like, okay, this is cute. But it'll be stuff like this. It's like, it looks like something, but it's actually nothing, right? Like this looks like it could be like a space map in a strategy game or something, but like this is just like visual effects for what reason, I don't know. It just made this. This is what it kind of decided to make when it made its own thing. And it kind of works, but it's kind of useless. I mean, it looks cute, and it looks like a supernova is about to go off, but I don't know. It's weird. Yeah. Oh yeah. I use it too. So I do most of the writing myself, but where it really helps me is when I get like writer's block, like where I get to a point in the story where I'm like, well, what do I do from here? And then I'll be like, okay, I need some scenarios, and then like it'll be able to craft some scenarios, and then I'll be like, I don't like any of those, but number 2 gave me an idea. Make something that's like number 2 and mix it with number 7, and I just had a new idea and add this new idea to the number 2 and number 7 idea, and then it'll come up with a new scenario, and then I'm like, I like that one. That's the scenario, and then the details I might write myself, but I do use it for helping with writing too. But it's just cool. I mean, it's cool. Like at first, it's like a little bit of a rush, but then it's like it feels like a superpower, and then that wears off, and then it's like, oh, this is a new tool. Cool. I liken it to digital power tools. It's kind of how I would see it. Okay, so our AI has looked at the plugin manager and come up with a plan. Let me get past this because of the beeping. Oh, the video isn't working, but I know why. Video isn't working, but we can fix it. We can fix it. Okay, we'll look at this plan in a minute, but we got to fix video. And how do we do that? Well, so I have a bunch of plugins that let me play video in the game, like a video parallaxes, video overlay, stuff like that. But the NWJS, plugin, like, okay, because NWJS is like the part of the game engine that's like, that's basically the Chrome browser. And basically NWJS is a framework for creating applications on PC or whatever, but using web apps, meaning, or it's basically like a web browser that runs locally, and you can use JavaScript and you can use like web-based frameworks and stuff to make applications that run on your PC. There's a lot of programs that are web apps. So this RPG Reactor is a web app. And anyway, NWJS comes with a video decoder, FFmpeg video decoder, and it, by default, doesn't, on the Linux version, doesn't play .h264 codec videos, right? So, but there's a fix for that, but you just gotta implement it directly. So let me see what the fix is. We got NWJS Linux. The only problem is what version is it? Because I don't remember what version it is, and it has to be the exact version. But I have to replace this lib FFmpeg with a standalone version. So oh, maybe it'll tell me in the playtest. Like maybe it'll say what it is. I need to turn that off. Let's see, will it say here? See that NW is going. Okay, well, here's what I'll do. I'll just get the latest version and swap it out. And that way I'll know which version it is. FFmpeg pre-built binaries for nw.js. .107 Linux. Okay, desktop 107 Linux. Now we'll go with nw.js download, and we'll get the same version, 107 Linux x64 SDK. We will go to RPG Reactor. Definitely want it to ship with, like, when somebody uses the engine, I want it to have that FFmpeg version in it. So we'll delete. Something goes wrong, and I gotta replace my logos and stuff too. NWJS Linux desktop. Yeah, so that FFmpeg file. Yeah, NWJS. We'll throw that. We'll slam those files in there. Slam those files in there, and then we'll slam the other files in there. I'll move that to the side. Slam that file in there. And that should do it. That should do it. Now let me see if that fixed video. All this debug shit that I need to get rid of. Okay, I'm just gonna test this really quick. I believe it just routes the one from the project folder right into the gameplay mode, but we'll know in a second here. I'm gonna just skip all this dialogue. There we go. Yep. See, it works now. Took me a little while to figure that one out, but no biggie. Yeah. Freelancers is gonna has a lot more aliens in it as the main characters than the previous games did. Because it's also getting easier to make these aliens too, because using the AI, right? Like, there's not a lot of aliens out there. Like, if you wanted to even like buy an asset pack, like there's not that many. But if you let me turn that beeping off, it's like too loud. Oh, I see. Yeah, but what I was gonna say was it's getting easier because I can literally say these are old pictures, by the way, so these faces are gonna get revised. But being able to just be like, hey, give me a fucking cobra alien humanoid hybrid, or give me a salamander dragon politician with, you know, sunglasses and a purple mullet. It'll like be able to pull it off, right? Where you wouldn't like normally be able. It would normally be you'd have to do it all yourself, or you'd have to use some kind of generator or something, and it would look like shit. And a lot of my early works did look like shit. Some of them looked okay, some of them looked like shit. But it's getting a lot more accessible to make like different aliens in the game for real. And then this is also I'm going crazy on making my own plugins. So I have this mini map plugin that it shows up in the main menu, like where you're at, and then it'll show like a mini preview of the map you're on without having to save any images or anything like that. It's just automatic. Yeah, and this runs a lot smoother on Linux because like when I first tried to get this working, I was using Proton and rpgmaker MZ, and it would play the game, but there was like this little bit of like what I would call jitter to it, or it felt like a little rough. But then when you use the native Linux NWJS, it's totally smooth and it doesn't have that, like, I would almost call it like latency lag. Like it feels like everything's like either twitchy or like slightly delayed, but it doesn't feel like that right now when I'm running it natively. But yeah, that was a little bit of a change switching over to Linux. But I switched to Linux because basically I switched because of the direction Microsoft is going in, and there was one final straw that made me actually switch. So I've always turned off the like Microsoft account, the Microsoft OneDrive, the backup that they do. Everything that they do, I've always said no to because it's just it gets in your face and makes the computer run slower and everything like that. And it's almost like you're being advertised to while you're trying to use your computer. But here's the part that made me switch. So I have always opted out of those. I've always said no, and then I go to set up a new computer for a customer or something, and it's at the point where you have to sign in with a Microsoft account in order to get past the one screen, and then you remove it after you get logged in for the first time. Well, as soon as I signed into it, it went like, oh well, do you want to sync up all your photos and your files from your computer at your desktop at home? And then it was all right there. And I was like, I said no to all this stuff, and you just did it anyway. You just you just unswitched my option for no and switched it to yes and just did that, you know, fuck you guys. And that's what made me switch, because I was like, I can't trust this anymore. I can't trust that when I set something that you're going to leave my setting the way that I want it. So I switched. And I'm really glad, actually. I've really like I've gotten a lot better at development since I've switched to Linux. You get a lot better at like figuring out how things actually work, even though there's still some parts I don't like about it, or parts that are harder to, or at first it's harder, but then it actually makes more sense as far as, and it gets out of my way. So the operating system, once you set it up the way you like it, it gets out of your way, and it doesn't advertise to you or push product on you, and it runs faster too. So my computer's sitting on like 8 years old now or something like that. It's a beast, but from 2017. And it was starting to run like shit in Windows for no reason. All the resources showed that there was no resources were being used as much as possible, and it was just running like kind of like shit. And then when I switched it to Linux, everything is just buttery smooth and runs like the day I first got it. So there's some. I mean, I think honestly, it's just that there's too much going on when you're using Microsoft. There's like just too much bloat. There's just stuff going on in the background constantly. Telemetry, gathering data. There's just too many things going on at once. So it's like with computers are only good at doing one thing at a time really fast, pretty much. So when you pile on so many things in the background, it just makes the computer run like shit. But let's see. Let's go to let's see what Claude has to say about this plan. I'm trying to fix the plugin manager parsing for managing these plugins in RPG Reactor. So Ultra Mode 7 is a good test because it has lots of settings. And I should be able to see them, but I don't. I do see the settings in some of the plugins, but I think it's a parsing problem. The plugin parameters don't load for many plugins. Ultra Mode 7 shows 0 options. The root cause is the annotation parser only handles one of the 2 valid rpgmaker MZ comment formats. And the display logic incorrectly requires parameters to exist in the saved config file before showing them. Regex requires prefix critical. Oh, I see. I see. That makes sense. That's why my plugins all worked. Like my plugins all worked in this. So they do. So plugins can be made without putting the little star things. I did not know that. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Do the plan. Do the plan, Claude. Okay. And what's weird is how it'll come up with a plan, and then it'll want to wipe its memory before it implements the plan. That's the part that's interesting to me. Is it'll go, okay, I've looked at this, and I've come up with a plan. And then in clear context and implement the plan. That's the default option. You can maintain context and implement the plan, But I think the reason for it is because the AI only has like a certain window that it can see at once. And I think clearing the memory makes it so that that window is larger when it's implementing the plan. Otherwise, it might implement the plan with only like 10% of the window left. But I think it'll change over time to be where there's more and more memory that it can just hold in there. Right now it's 25,000 tokens on one thing, one task, and then it's like 250,000 tokens for the whole before it loses its context window. And then that recently increased to 1 million, but you have to be like an API user where you're using the business API or something. So I don't have access to that longer context window yet. But let's see if it implements the plan successfully. It probably will. It probably will. And then we'll know when we go to open up RPG Reactor again, and then it works. I still have the play test mode open. While we're waiting, we'll keep playing. I just realized I probably want to cover up these files. Not mining lasers. I do not appreciate your tone, Captain Triton. This is going to save our economy. all the politics in my games. Okay. So kind of like this at the top more than the bottom. I'm just kind of rearranging my workspace here. Okay. Okay. And then by the way, this has also gotten way better. This like the AI in the terminal versus even like when I first started using it like this, which was back in like November. It's already like twice as good as it was when it was already good. So I'm just interested to see where it goes from here. But I definitely think making my own engine that's like loosely based off of RPG Maker, but I can start to go in a new direction, I feel like is a viable project. And I'm going to be able to find out by using my own game to experiment and see what happens. Of course, I'll make backups. Because right now, this is like a trash version of the game that I put in the folder, in the RPG Reactor folder. So this isn't like, I have another copy that's untouched because I don't know if it's going to like break something if if there's like a mistake in how it saves like stuff to the database or something that would break it. But so far it's been working. Just these little bugs. Okay. It's saying that it fixed those bugs. Let's see if it fixed those bugs. Let's see if we go to like Ultra Mode 7 and we see like, you know, all those options like we should. Ding, 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 ding. Ding, 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 ding. Okay. Okay. I believe it. It's working now. Great. Let me look at some of the other plugins. Okay. The Mog plugin is not working. The Mog Battlehead. But more of them are working than was working. This is my tactical battle system. But I feel like I had more options than this. Okay. I'm gonna open up rpgmaker MZ and compare. Oh, by the way, Starshift Rebellion, which was the last game that I made 2 years ago, it's now totally free. So anybody that wants to play a little space adventure, it's now totally free. But oh yeah, back to RPG Maker. So it does run on Linux. It runs a little bit slow, or it doesn't feel like as responsive, but it does run. Oh, Nightmare Arena. That's another game that I'm helping to publish for another developer, Ifty. But I'll open up my actual project. Yeah. And we can compare how it should look versus how it does look. So you can see we have the Mog Battlehead and there's all these options, but not in Reactor. And then I thought I had more than 4 options. No, I don't. Okay. That's fine. Oh, that's right, because I put most of my options for the tactical battle system in the map itself. Like, you run plugin commands on the map itself. And that's where a lot of the logic comes from. Okay. So we've got to figure out why Mog Battlehead isn't working. Especially for plugins like RPG 7. And I noticed that Mog Battlehead and the other Mog plugins aren't working. They show like the headers of options, but not the options themselves. So we'll get we'll see. I'll never tell you the command code. Hunger has a way of changing minds. Ah, that's good. Throw him in cell 92. Ding, 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 ding. Vedroken corrupt. Yeah, I think he's corrupt. Okay. Now I'll try it with the Mog plugins. See if it shows up. Okay, it's working now. It's great. Okay, one thing though is I noticed that in the plugin manager that it works now, but the options seem awfully best use of space, and maybe titles for options they have more style. It's not making best use of the space. Because I noticed the interface, it does work, but it's a little bit like not making the best use of the space. Especially if there's like a lot of options. Okay, it's gonna tighten everything up. That's cool. That you get all of that. These lights are intense. I like them though. But I think that they're backwards. Or maybe no, you know what it is? It's just that they're in the shape of the lights is different based on my new lighting plugin versus what I had before. so they're not, the angles are not quite right, and they're too long too. But they look good. They look like you're really lighting up the room. Because I made them with additive light rather than with a lot of lighting plugins, what they'll do is they'll make everything black, and then you punch normal light through the darkness, and it's basically like cutting a hole out of the darkness. But instead, I added it almost like a bloom effect, where it's an extra layer of that actually adds light. And it runs fast too, so it runs good even on a potato PC with lots of lights. The biggest mistake that a lot of developers make when they're making plugins for RPG Maker is it can only handle one single threaded stuff. So whenever the trick is to get it to do as little math as possible. So basically there's a lot of developers that they write something recalculate the position of the box on the screen every frame. Well, if you're doing a calculation every frame, that's not good. That's actually that you're hammering, especially if you have 180 FPS, that's 180 calculations, math equations, simple ones, but still per frame. And how many frames a second? It's not good. So instead, what you do is you change the pattern to be, instead of doing something like that, you write it so that it's recalculate the position of the box when it needs to be, or when something has changed. So that way, if nothing has changed, it stops calculating. And then if something has changed, then it calculates until it has its new position, and then it doesn't calculate anymore, right? So that's how you... So with a lot of lighting systems, they do it that way too. We calculate the position of the light every frame, and that's the part that lags. It's not the light itself that causes the lag. It's the calculating where it's at every frame that causes the lag, right? So just something to keep in mind. And what's cool is even though I'm not much of a coder myself, I'm really not. I can read code, but I'm not very good at writing it. But what's cool is with these AI tools, you can be a developer, because the coding is only one part of development. The other part of development is knowing what you're trying to build and knowing the logic of how it works. And my logic told me, hey, why is it calculating the position of a box every single frame? And then you tell the AI, hey, build it like this instead, where you're not doing it like that, do it like this instead, and then it will whip something up, and sure enough, it works. And it's okay, so but it doesn't know how to make it the best way just on its own. You have to kind of steer it, and you still have to kind of know the fundamentals or the underlying logic. Otherwise, you could vibe code, because another problem I run into when I'm developing with these AI tools, the main issue I run into the most is they'll duplicate code. Meaning, let's say you have two separate parts of the program that you upload a photo to. It will create two, if you're not careful, it'll create 2 or 3 or 5 or 8 separate image uploading systems for each of the 8 separate parts of the program where you would upload an image. But if you understand the fundamentals of what it's doing, even though you didn't handwrite it all yourself, you can say hey, wait a minute, why are you making 8 image uploading systems for these 8 different parts of the program? That's going to get really messy. Why don't you create a universal uploading system, and then reuse that component like a Lego piece in the 8 parts of the site, and then it'll do it that way. But you can see that if you don't know the fundamentals and you just start vibe coding, and you could be creating a program that looks like it's working, but then when you release it, it's actually a big mess because you have so much duplicated code and stuff. So if you try to change one part, it won't change the other part, etc. And it's inefficient to build that way, but yeah, it's just something to keep in mind. Okay, so Claude tightened up the plugin menu for RPG Reactor. So let's see. Let us see. If it looks a little tighter. It does look a little tighter, but it also looks like the writing is a little too small, I think. Writing is a little too small on some of those. And I'd like for these bars to match up. And there's something off here too. There's a banner. I need to look at that in RPG Maker. ATBMZ? Actor icon background. For example, if I go to Psychronic ATBMZ plugin, I see the sections for actor icon background, enemy icon background. Normally, I should be able to select an image like I do in RPG Maker. It's getting tighter though, but it's still not quite where I want it to be. Okay. So yeah, so I see that there's a few people on the stream right now. Yeah, just to reiterate, I am working on RPG Reactor. It is a new game engine, but it is backwards compatible with RPG Maker MZ for now. but I'm planning on taking it in its own direction and enhancing it compared to RPG Maker, adding new functions and stuff like that. It's also going to be free and open source, so anybody that wants to be part of the process of developing it is free to hop on. And I figure it's a fun project to challenge myself and make something new, make something a little different. Let's see. Everything looks clean. Here's a summary of the 3 fixes. Scans the actual project, filters by image extensions. Okay. Now let's go back to it and see if that's fixed now. ATB MZ. No, I'm still not working. You can see what it looks like in the picture. It's just a banner that does nothing, doesn't let me pick any shit. And I sometimes like to use words like shit and jank, and it looks like shit and stuff like that, and it can handle that. Sometimes it does fuck up a lot, and then you have to be like, man, I'm sorry, I don't know why you're acting like a piece of shit today, you know, just, I'm mostly nice to it though. I'll say thank you and stuff, please and thank you. Mostly because you get better outputs out of it. Like if it is fucking up, it's okay to say that it's fucking up, but if it's, you know, doing a good job, or, you know, you have some gratitude that it was able to get something done quick that would normally take forever, then, you know, I'll say thank you. Okay. So I'll reload the plugin manager. So I'm like literally playing my game as I'm asking about fixing a plugin system. So it's like it's kind of a crazy new time when it comes to this shit. Oh. Image system. Oh, it's uppercase, lowercase. That's what it's doing. Okay. Okay. Now this is a problem. Slight problem. Interfering with the titles of the plugin. And it's because the plugin manager opens up as like kind of like this full screen. I probably don't want it to open up like that as this like full screen modal thing. So much space. Okay. Now let's pass around as many guns as you can. You got it. Oh, nice. My favorite place, the debate stage. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Okay, yeah. I like this. Okay. Another thing too the plugin manager opens up as this full screen modal kind of thing. Maybe it could be. Because maybe we could enhance the functionality where maybe we could mess with plugin options at the same time we're messing with, like in the gameplay. Because normally in RPG Maker, if you're in the plugin manager menu, it's locking you out of using the other parts of the app. But maybe we could make this a floating modal window that you could then maybe be in two parts of the engine at the same time. When you have to like look at something side by side. Maybe. Yeah. Just some thoughts. Alright, let's see what it did to this menu now. Okay, let me confirm. Because it's saying that it already did that, but it doesn't look any different. Let's see here. Overriding the Windows styling. Okay, let's see if that worked. Oh, there we go. Okay, yeah. And that seems to be about the right size. Okay, it works now. One thing that might be nice. Yep. Okay, it works now. One thing that might be nice is if I could drag and drop to change the order of the plugins. I like the arrow buttons as they are though, so don't take those out. Also, I should be able to both copy and paste the plugin from the list, keeping their saved parameters when I do. Yep. I want to be able to drag these around to change the order and be able to cut and copy paste them. Currently I cannot, but we'll add that. Now the advantage of building this as a web app is that it can run on any operating system. The downside of and you can use any of the stack that goes with web, like that includes CSS for styling, that includes JavaScript for like actual code, and so the downside though, so there's a lot of frameworks, there's a lot of stuff that's already out there for web, and like that's what makes it so you can like get up and running quickly. The downside, though, of running a web app like this instead of, like, say, like if you made it in, like, C++ or something, is, with web apps, there's not really multi-threaded. So, if you have, so for example, an application that would be kind of bad to make as a web app would be like a video editor, because you could make a video editor that was a web app, but if it needed the CPU, well, it might be able to get away with it if you're using the GPU, but if you're using the CPU to render anything, it's only going to be able to use one of those cores. Or there's the potential that you could do multi-threaded by doing like web workers, which is kind of like when you set up another instance. It kind of like if you had another tab, so to speak, and it's doing something. Now I've been able to do that before. So for example, I've done it in this too. So one plugin that I made was and by the way, rpgmaker, the engine itself is not a web app. It's made in like C++ or something, but the gameplay mode, like when you're playing the game, that is a web app. It's NWJS and Pixie Pixie is an open source framework for like graphics and stuff, 2D graphics. But I made the engine, the RPG Reactor engine in NWJS and Pixie. So it's even more like RPG Maker than RPG Maker as far as the gameplay mode and the engine is concerned. So, and the reason why I built it this way is because basically, like, I was able to get going faster because what I was able to do is I was able to, since they were using the same framework, right? I was able to tell the AI, look at the core script for when you're playing a game, and you'll see that they line up with function names in the events where you're setting up event like functions for these events where you have all the options in an event of things you can do, and, reverse engineer the functionality from looking at the core script, and then it was able to reverse engineer the interface like this part where it has all the functions, like the show text and change gold and the control switches, and I have all the switches here, and it works just like it does on RPG Maker. Transfer player. This works too, so I pretty much everything works in it. So I think I'm just going to use this as my engine for, making my game. But I'm still developing the engine, so I can just do both at the same time. Like when I run into something I'm not able to do in my game because it's not working quite right, then I can, so for example, one thing that's not working quite right, and I already know it, is the battle test. I haven't added the battle test yet. I've added the animations. I've even added the animation 3D controls. So you can experiment with which angle is correct rather than just slamming in random numbers in the XYZ and seeing it. So yeah, this kind of makes it a little bit more useful to use those 3D animations, those effect-seer animations. So yeah, I mean it's coming along. Okay, so it's saying that my drag and drop functionality and my cut and paste and stuff is working. Well, let's see if it's actually working. Okay. So let's say I wanted to drag this one further down in the list. Okay, that worked. That's cool. Now let me cut it and paste it. Awesome. So at this point, I mean, I think people would be dumb to not use AI. Like, they're just gonna fall behind. Like, I'm literally doing this as I'm playing my game. Like, it's kind of nuts. I mean, and it's only gonna get better. I mean, this is only the beginning. We're still only like, what, 2 years into this thing where people have been using it, AI. Now, but yeah, it is interesting. Okay. Okay, well, let me just, I mean, now that we're at it, and I know I need the combat simulator, let's just tell it to do it. RPG Reactor is battle tester. See where it's in the database. It's under troops. Yeah, it's under troops. Oh, and I can enhance it too. Because what I can do is because by default the battle test only lets you do 4 people in battle, but in my game, there's 7 characters in a party, so I can actually make this number. I can actually enhance it and make this a higher number, where I can actually do real battle testing for like my game. Okay, but let me explain it well, though. I have to explain it. Okay. Okay. Let me go back to the troops in the database and see what we currently have. Not much, actually. It's pretty bare bones. Also, adding enemies to the troop. So user should be able to draw. Test button, which this modal, the user can select actors and configure equipment for the individual actors. And the level stats of the actor with that equipment and levels should show up accurately in that same go-to. And then just like it does in normal gameplay mode, but it's just the battle test. Also, on the troops page, there should be a section for battle events. With controls for view event page, copy event page, paste event page, delete event page, the event tabs should be numbered, and each tab has a drop down for conditions. Oh god, okay. Which opens up a modal with checkboxes, drop downs for turn end, turn, zero. Okay. Okay. Let's see if I can one-shot this. Let's see if it can one-shot this. We were going straight from the feature doesn't exist to we need the battle test feature to work. This is a major feature with several interconnected components. Let me plan this out properly. All right. So it's going to come up with its little plan. Let's see where it goes from here. But I knew that the battle test feature would be like one of the harder things to implement, so it's not that hard, but so I haven't done it up until now. But I thought the plugin stuff would take longer than it did actually, so I'm glad that that's pretty much done now. Got that solved. Now let's see what can be done. But see, you can see the prompt, it's like almost ridiculous. But let's see if it'll come up with something. And this is Zygon, salamander dragon politician. Let's do this. Now, this is, I was just opening rpgmaker to compare, but for anybody that's new to the stream, we're developing our own engine that is based off of, it's basically loosely based off of rpgmaker MZ, but we're building it fresh. RPG Reactor. It's going to be open source, so anybody can enjoy it. It'll work on Mac, Windows, Linux. With the help of AI to build it. Okay. God, there's so much fucking talking in this game. I need to make it a little bit tighter on the dialogue, I think. And also, by the way, too, Starship Freelancers was not, it was originally written by a fan of my game, Joel Eagle. And so this one's a little different in that I'm bringing it under my wing and for like making like the graphics tighter and stuff like that. And I'm, you know, editing it a little bit, but I like the story. So I'm like, yeah, let's bring it under our wing. But there's a little bit of pacing issues. Like we got to make it so that during the dialogue, between the dialogue parts, there's like a little bit more like gameplay stuff. It's kind of like a rough storyboard right now. And I haven't actually had, like, it's been a while since I've been able to work on the game because there was a lot of other life stuff going on that was outside of my control that ended up taking up a lot of time. So that's kind of why I've been out of commission for a while, but I'm finally getting back to the groove again. But this game takes place, it starts off on a completely alien world. So basically, that's why there's not a lot of humans. But they do show up because the humans are basically the villains. Not the species of the humans, but the who controls them, you know. Something happened where he's about to get dragged away, but I think there's a soft block because this character's not able to walk through here. Oh, that sucks. Okay. Debate. Yeah, what debate? Stage. And the searching and stuff is faster. Like when I'm searching through maps and stuff, it's definitely faster. Oh, and I bet that it was normally this awkward size where, yeah, okay. Some reason why he wasn't able to walk. Then we'll get to I gotta get some music going. It's always more fun with music. Oh, and then being able to make music with the AI is cool too. I mean, because I made some bangers. Okay, it's still... Okay, well, it looks like it has a good plan. Now it wipes its memory before implementing the plan. And we'll see if it worked. Let's see here. was right when that troop was moving. Oh, I've got to fix this. I've got to fix that. The move route is primitive. Yeah, I can fix that though. Let's see. It was after the emergency session. And I can't mess around with the move route until I fix it because it doesn't let me choose the different options. It actually does work to execute the options if they're typed out that way, but no. I gotta. Move route is one of the main things in the engine, so I gotta definitely get that working next. But see here, it actually shows the move route. Yeah, it just says add command, but it just... Let's see. Event 02. Is this event 02? No, it's event 99. Okay. Let's see here. Should it come up with something? Okay. Okay. said that it did it. Let's see if it did it. Nice. It's not, it still has a little bit, still needs to be adjusted a little bit, but it's close. Whoa. Okay, so it's a little bit jank, but nice. Failed to load data test actors. Is test actors a thing? Let's see. Okay, let me look in the normal engine and see if because if I recall correctly, I think there was actually something in my plugins that broke the battle test. Let me confirm. Okay. Well, it's a different error though, so. Okay, let me see. It's looking for the data test something. So let me see if, like, when it does a battle test, do those files actually show up, or? Yeah, it does show up. But do they go away when... just gonna put them all in the directory. See what happens. Oh, nice. It does work. Oh, and what's funny is that it doesn't crash in RPG Reactor, but it does crash in MZ. Also, they all have 1 HP, which they're not supposed to have. Yeah, and obviously I've been replacing all of my plugins. So there's still some that are in kind of a rougher shape, but I've been able to replace all of them. So pretty much all of them, except the ones that I'm fine with. But I didn't want to use the Visu Stella ones, because I fucking hate when people obfuscate code. Because like a lot of times you have to like change one little thing, and then they never get around to it. And then it's a complete black box that you can't understand when you look at it. And like, I know that they're protecting their market share or whatever, but it's just lame. Okay. So the battle test maybe this. Proportionally based on what the resolution. Also, the battle events should work like normal events. Currently, it seems non-functional. You might be able to reverse engineer based on what's in the core script for gameplay mode. Also, oh, I can see them. Cool. Oh, but I can't on a lot of them. Interesting. Also past the looks really ugly. Also, for battle backs, it should be upper layer, lower layer, instead of floor and wall. Also, I'm not able to add any enemies to the troops. Okay. Well, it didn't one-shot it, but it got pretty good. It got pretty far on this for just one prompt. Now, let's see if it can fix the little bugs that it's like this right here, how it goes way past the... Oh, you know what? I have to, I have to make it so my cursor shows up. Damn. Oh, there we go. I should have done that from the start. And then my little thingy is in the way. Oh well. Let's see. I always like to use the game engine as my MP3 player, basically. Okay. Well, so far, it's actually doing better than it was when I first started developing this. One thing I'm going to add later too, but I want to make sure I get the bottom layers right first, is I'm going to add more layers here. So normally RPG Maker can only go up to like layer E, but I'm thinking like we make like a layer F or higher that allows for like a bigger image file, so you can put more stuff on maps and stuff. But right now I'm just kind of focusing on getting it to work first. Like, just one for one, does it work? And then once we get it working like completely, then let's start changing shit that wasn't normally in the engine before. And that's going to be exciting. Let's see. I already know what I'm gonna get moving on next, so I gotta get the move route working. Move route. It's sort of frozen here. Okay, it's back. Just rewriting the troop editor. Looks pretty good, actually. vape cartridge. Oh no. Okay. Let's see. Oh, it's doing a lot of rewriting. Yes. See, this is the part I don't like about using the AI tools is when like it has its context window. You ask it to do something, it's in the middle of doing it. It's in the middle of like rewriting something major, and then it's like lost all context, compact the conversation, and then it will like not remember half of what it was doing. I mean, it could be worse, and now it won't compact. Or it won't auto-compact. Okay, here's what I'll do. Oh. That's interesting. This thinking intensity is new. I still think I get better results out of it when I do have it think more. It takes longer, but the result is usually better. Okay. Before everything went wrong. Okay. We'll see if that worked. We'll see if that worked. Well, let's see. Let me close this. Okay, I guess it said it finished before it crashed, so that's good. But let's make sure. Psychronic. database. Now, some of them show up, but some of them don't. Did the Resnorian slavers show up? Yeah, they don't show up. Okay, great. Battle events are showing up now. Okay, great. This shows up now. Cool. Okay, let's see. Okay, so issues in the troops editor. To work on this too. Okay. Okay. Okay, so I am probably going to end the stream now. I'm probably going to keep working on this today, but just quietly. And then I'll be back. I'll be back a little more often than I've been gone since my schedule's opened up a little bit. But thanks for everyone who joined in today, and I'm going to continue to develop this viable replacement to RPG Maker, and hopefully get some enhancements added, and work on my own game at the same time. So, yeah, I'm having fun with it, and the new AI tools can do a lot, and I'm curious to see what else they can do as this goes along. So anyway, everyone have a great weekend. Take it easy. Good luck.